Thank you so much for coming back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Hacksaw Ridge. Rashad G Reviews is back in this video to talk about another movie with me, and this time I had him check out Hacksaw Ridge, a film that he actually missed and did not see in theaters, and this was a movie that I did see in theaters and was completely blown away with. I'll go ahead and start this off by saying I love this movie. When I saw it in theaters, it looked like a good time. I didn't think it was going to be the greatest movie of all time, but I was definitely interested. I am a fan of Andrew Garfield, and so I was looking forward to seeing what this Mel Gibson directed film was going to be all about. I saw it with my mom, and boy oh boy, by the time we got to the big action sequences and the big battle sequences at the end of the film, I was completely in shock and awe at how crazy this movie really got. So like I just mentioned, this film is directed by Mel Gibson and stars people like Andrew Garfield, Hugo Weaving, Vince Vaughn, Teresa Palmer, and so many others, Sam Worthington. There are just so many names and faces in this movie. And right out of the gate, the cast is phenomenal in this film. I think everybody gives a really great and believable performance. One of the biggest differences that Rashad and I have in this review is that he wasn't a huge fan of Andrew Garfield. Not that he didn't like him, but he wasn't a huge fan of Andrew Garfield and the character in this film, whereas I personally loved Andrew Garfield in this film, and I love the way he portrayed this character. The character he's playing is based off a true character, a real person. This whole story is based on a real story and a real event about this man named Desmond who was part of the military and wanted to go to serve, but he was a pacifist, a God-fearing man, a Christian who did not want to hold a rifle and did not want to be part of the violence in any way, shape, or form. He wanted to go as a medic and be solely a medic. And the whole story is that over the course of one night, he went out onto the battlefield and saved a bunch of people that were left for dead, and he became a big military hero. So a fantastic story that's almost unbelievable to believe it actually happened, that somebody was actually able to get in and out of this situation and save as many lives as they did, especially in World War II. It was a dangerous, crazy, unprecedented time where people didn't know how to handle those situations. We don't have all the technology that we have today and tactics. You kind of just have to go in and do things based on your feeling and based on your gut. And just to know that there was a real person who put their life on the line to save as many people as they did, that alone is just an incredible story. One thing I really enjoy about this film is that the film just spends a lot of time before you get to the battle sequences in the last half of the film, spending time with the characters. If I'm not mistaken, it's close to the hour mark before you get anywhere into the action, and this film is a little over 2 hours, and I just love that. I think that was a great decision on Mel Gibson's choice to really make us care for the character of Desmond and his journey. Now, some people may see his character and kind of find him to be a little bit much, and the fact that he does not want to touch a rifle and he wants nothing to do with violence. He's a super pacifist, and he's a very, very nice guy. So Rashad talks about that a little bit, and I'll let him speak on that in just one moment. But personally, I think that for the character, if that was truly how the man was, I think that Andrew Garfield did a fantastic job. Everything from his accent, because he is English, he has an English accent. The American accent that he has in this film is phenomenal. I really enjoy just how believable he is as this character. And by the end of the film, I was 110% rooting for him. And every time I've seen this movie since, even when I watched it in Spanish with my grandma, I have been completely invested in Andrew Garfield's performance. And he's not the only one. Like I mentioned, Vince Vaughn, Teresa Palmer, so many others. Everybody gives a very grounded and believable performance in this film. And that's one of my favorite things about films directed by Mel Gibson, is sometimes the stories won't always be the greatest, but in most cases they are. And when they are, I think what he does so well is just really be able to dive deep into the characters and make everything feel very real and realistic. Now, the battle sequences at the end of this film are phenomenal. I mean, just absolutely fantastic. I really don't even know how they pulled off a lot of these things. There is so much going on, so much gore, and so much violence. And what I love about the film is that I don't feel like it glorifies it. I think that some people have walked out of this film, and one of the main criticisms I heard is that the whole story is about this man who's a pacifist and wants nothing to do with violence, but then you get to the war sequences and the film is so violent. And I understand that criticism. However, I would say that it just really goes to show the realism of a situation like that. You have this character who doesn't want to be a part of the violence. He doesn't want to do anything as far as taking somebody's life. but he's a part of this and he wants to be there knowing that this is about to get nasty, and he wants to be there to save people's lives. And the reality of the situation is I feel like they shouldn't have sugarcoated it, and I'm glad that Mel Gibson did not. This film gets incredibly gory and very intense in the last half of the film, but I love that majority of the film is really set up more like a drama and a romance rather than it being a war film, but the war film portion of the film is brutal. Now, before I continue my thoughts on this movie, let's go ahead and hear what Rashad had to say about this.
Hey Perez, what's the deal? Pickles is everything kosher. So our Tit for Tat series continues, and last night I had the honor and the privilege of watching Hacksaw Ridge. That's the movie you picked out for me, and I remember when this dropped, but I just had no interest to watch it at the time. I wasn't feeling no war film, so I said, Andrew Garfield, not the biggest fan of his. I wasn't really feeling the Spider-Man movies, so I passed on it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. I really dug this shit. Now, well, I'm gonna go into the positives first. All right, so the positives, the battle sequences. Holy shit, dog! I messaged you last night. Okay, I messaged you last night, like, yo, this battle scene, like the first battle scene they had, that shit gives Saving Private Ryan, the beach scene, a run for his money. You know what I'm saying? That shit was just brutal. It was graphic. You saw guts and brains and limbs and bones and shit flying all over the place. And I watched the shit on my projector, man, so I felt like I was actually there in the action, and I'm on the edge of my seat watching it, man. Like, nobody was safe. Like, there was plenty of times where I was like, holy shit, the battles was crazy. But, of course, it's coming from Mel. Like, Mel can shoot a violent scene like no other, man. The guy just knows how to shoot violence, realistic violence, brutal, in-your-face violence that just makes you like, oh, God, that looked like it hurt. So yeah, that's a positive. I thought the acting was really good. Andrew Garfield, like I said, not the biggest fan of his, but I think he served the purpose for the character that he was playing. And well, I'm gonna get to him in a second because he has to do with some of the negatives I had about the movie. But yeah, performances overall was good. I thought Vince Vaughn was probably the standout character here. Him and Hugo Weaving, who played the dad. I thought Hugo Weaving did a great job. So yeah, the acting was good. I appreciated the cinematography, the art direction. Like I said, the battles was crazy, and the pacing of the movie. This is a 2-hour and 19-minute movie, y'all, and the pacing I thought worked very well. And honestly, I think the movie should have been longer because of something else I'm gonna get into with the negatives about it. But I felt the movie could have, even at 2:19, you know, I think it could have been longer because there's certain things that I wanted to see that I did not get. So, all right, so that's the positives. That's the quick positives about it. And the directing, you know what I'm saying? Mel Gibson, he put his foot in this shit, man. Like, he just puts a hot sauce and the paprika and everything. That dude can spice. He's probably one of the few white people that can season some damn food. You know what I'm saying? He puts so much seasoning in his movies that it just has that bite to it. There I go again, comparing movies to food again. All right, now the negatives I have about this. The negatives, Andrew Garfield. Now, I'm not going to say that he had a bad performance. I think, like I said, he served the purpose for the character that he was playing. But the character, what's his name? Desmond Doss, I think his name was, which is based off of a real character. I didn't too much care for his character. I thought he was a real kind of like, aw shucks, and just really, he's just a really nice guy, you know. I'm a nice guy myself, even though I talk a lot of shit, but I've been told that I'm a nice guy, you know what I'm saying? But he takes niceness to a whole fucking cornball level. Like, this dude was a cornball, even when he asked his wife out for the first time. Like, that was the corniest shit ever, you know? I just, you know, look, maybe it's just me, because the way he approached that shit, I couldn't get away with that, you know? But for the magic of the movie magic, it worked for him. But I just thought he was a real corny character. He wasn't really likable. I mean, he did some heroic shit, you know what I mean? And he, like, the movie is about, you know, what makes it different is the fact that he served in the military, served in World War II without using a gun. And that never happens. I mean, you go to the army and not having to use a gun, like, that's unheard of. And he's a hero, you know, he saves the day, but he's just not really a likable character. And with a movie like this, when the character's not like, when the protagonist is not really likable like that, you look towards the supporting characters. Now, Vince Vaughn, I thought, was a very good supporting character as the drill sergeant, but other than that, the other characters, they didn't really give them enough to do. Like, we're introduced to them when Desmond first shows up to boot camp. We're introduced to these characters, and they seem like a colorful group of characters, but we never see the camaraderie between them. We never really get to know and see these characters and care for them. So when something does happen to them, I actually care. Like, I just feel like we didn't get enough of the supporting characters. We just got what Desmond was going through, which I know it's his story, so that it has to be that way. But like I said, for me to really be invested into a film, if I don't like the main character, I gotta fuck with the supporting characters. And the supporting characters didn't really have enough for me to be like, I care about what happens in this movie. All right, if it wasn't for this saying true story, I would call bullshit on this. All right, I would call bullshit because we're in this battle. There's brains and shit flying all over the place. People are getting killed, and these motherfuckers I got rifles to defend themselves. Desmond has no weapon, no gun. He just has his heroics. All right, does he have the same mutant ability as Domino, where Domino just had good luck, like nothing bad could happen to her? Like, he had that Domino mutant ability where bullets just flew around him and he never got caught. It's crazy. Like, if it didn't say true story, I'd be like, okay, this is some bullshit here. Mel, what are you doing? But, true story, this shit did actually happen. And at the end, when I read the credits, when they were showing the little historic facts, I said, okay, this shit was real. So it did happen. He does believe in God. He's a God-fearing man. So look, I guess if that's not enough evidence for you that God is real, I don't know what to tell you, because God was definitely on his side, man. There's no way you can be without a weapon and escape like that. You know what I mean? That's just crazy to me. Like, one thing I could admire about his character, he knew nothing of the back down. Even when his back is against the wall, he's facing imprisonment, being away from his wife. He couldn't even go to his wedding, but he stood strong in his beliefs. Like, no, I'm standing by this shit. If I have to lose everything, no, I will not pick up a gun. And me as the audience, I'm watching this like, dude, just pick up the fucking gun, all right? Just pick up the fucking gun. Jeez, you ain't got to shoot the motherfucker. Just pick it up. God damn. All right, y'all, so be mindful of what I got for Hacksaw Ridge. Perez, thank you for having me in this video, man. I'm enjoying this tit for tat series. Looking forward to the next one. I think you got me watching Sicario 2 next, man. I really love the first one, so can't wait to watch part 2. So, homie, the floor is yours, man. Dig deeper into this shit. What you got?
As usual, a big thanks to Rashad for being here in this video. My friend, I loved hearing what you had to say. It's kind of a bummer to hear that you weren't crazy about Andrew Garfield's performance, because I'm on the complete opposite end where I loved him in this movie, but I am glad that you really enjoyed the film. I had an idea that you would definitely enjoy this film, and I was also glad that you hadn't seen it, because I knew that this is the kind of movie that you get a real reaction from the first time you watch it, especially from the battle sequences at the end. And I feel like it's a big journey. It's definitely, I think for me, probably one of my favorite war films, if not my favorite war film. It's just a film that I've rewatched many times since it came out in theaters, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed it more and more each time. So a big thanks to you for being here in this video, man. I loved hearing what you had to say. I'm definitely excited to have you very soon here on this channel to talk about the second Sicario, Day of Soldado. And again, thank you. You guys can find the link to his channel down below in the description box. Go give him some love, let him know I sent you, and let's continue talking about Hacksaw Ridge. Now, we've talked about the war sequences and how badass I find that all to be and how gory it gets, and one thing I love about this sequence is the use of practical effects. Now, like any other movie these days, there's definitely plenty of digital effects, and there are actually some seamless digital effects where when I watched the behind the scenes to see what was CG and what was green screen, I was actually quite surprised to see what parts were actually green screen. But there's definitely a fantastic use of practical effects in this movie, and I think that Mel Gibson just knows how to coordinate action. He knows how to choreograph shots and how to make it all flow so well. Rashad mentioned it, but the pacing of this film is so well done. It never feels boring, and I agree. I feel like there is this element of kind of wanting a little bit more. There is some stuff, especially when it comes to Desmond and his wife, that I found like I wanted to see a little bit more of that after the war, but I just love the way that they tackled this movie. It's emotional. You feel for the characters. You feel what's going on. Now, I will agree that there are some of the side characters that are just kind of there, and you're just kind of seeing them kind of get killed off, and it's not really something to be emotional about. But I do really enjoy that certain characters, like the one guy that was at the barracks with him that was giving him a hard time and beating him and all that kind of stuff, and really just being an asshole because of the fact that he was a pacifist. I love that he comes full circle. That same thing with Vince Vaughn's character. He kind of didn't really believe in his character. That everybody really didn't believe in Desmond, and just to see their faces and their transition across the film, to see that this guy that they were giving such a hard time to really put his life on the line to save so many people and did what so many people could never even imagine doing. And I think that Andrew Garfield sells that performance 100%. Whatever your thoughts are on his character and the person Desmond and being a pacifist and all that, I think as far as the performance goes and what Andrew Garfield was given as far as the script and the screenplay, I think he did a phenomenal job, and I think that this is easily my favorite Andrew Garfield performance. So Hacksaw Ridge, a beautifully directed film by Mel Gibson with fantastic performances, epic action, as well as tells a nice romance story, and you know, a good kind of, you know what I love about this film too is that it has a nice moral story, as a story of love and of care and of religion. But what I love about the element of religion, as somebody who grew up religious and isn't really religious today, is that I don't feel like the film is too pushy about it. You have this character who is very religious, and he has a specific mindset on how he wants to be and how he wants to be perceived in the world, and he doesn't judge the others for wanting to be part of the action and hold a gun. He himself just doesn't want to. And what I love about the way that they executed that in this film is that he's not necessarily somebody who's like a Bible thumper, and you don't feel like the film is a Bible thumper kind of film. The movie just genuinely feels like the story of a man who this is how he felt, and I think that they did a great job of separating the two, where the film doesn't really feel like it's trying to push those morals on you or push those religious beliefs. It's just like, hey, this is this character and this is who he is. This is this man. This is, you know, kind of the moral code he lived by. And I love the way that they executed that, because it could have gone the other way. It could have been something that it just feels like Jesus and the Lord and the Bible, and it's not. And I think that they did a fantastic job about balancing that and making it more about the character and his journey rather than his religion. So I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this movie. Do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? Have you seen this movie? Can't wait to hear. Leave those comments down below. Hit that like button down below if you guys enjoyed this video. It helps the channel out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more of these reviews. There's so many more coming. And yes, thank you guys so much. A big thanks once again to Rashad. You can find the link to his channel down below in the description box, like I mentioned before. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.